We've got 8 days left until we're on the plane and heading to Disneyland. And there's a lot to do to get ready. But one of the things you need to know if you're going to get ready is how is Disneyland different than Disney World and your planning for it? If you've ever taken a vacation to either Disneyland or Walt Disney World, you know that there's a lot of planning that should go into it, and a lot of things you need to be aware of. But if you've only been to one, then you may not realize how different the other is. For example, Walt Disney World is approximately the same size as all of San Francisco. It's huge. The parks are literally miles apart. The hotels and resorts are completely separated. So's downtown Disney, so's the water parks. Everything is spread out. So when we would tell somebody at Epcot that the castle is 3 miles to the north, we weren't kidding. There really was not any walking from one place to another at Walt Disney World. You have to hop on a bus or a boat or a monorail or some other transportation to be able to get from one place to another. There's just no getting around that. About the only exception to that is the Contemporary Hotel in relation to the Magic Kingdom. And even that's a pretty good walk and a little easier to take the monorail. Disneyland, on the other hand, is much more compact. And when I say more compact, I mean the two entrances of the parks face each other. And people from Florida may not realize this, but there is only about a football field's length between the two parks. It's not very much. You can walk out of one and literally be walking into the other one 2 minutes later. You don't have all the transportation issues. Downtown Disney, which in Florida is called Disney Springs, is on the edge of the parks. So you have this nice little causeway between them, and Downtown Disney is right at one end of it, as opposed to being 4.5, 5 miles away in Florida. So again, you can just walk right there. The Disney hotels are all within walking distance of the parks. So are a whole lot of others. In fact, at Disneyland, you actually don't have as many benefits of staying at the Disney hotels in comparison to Florida. Florida, you get all the Disney transportation, you get all the extra help, you get fast passes early. None of that really applies in California. They don't let you book your fast passes early. You have to go into the park. If you buy Max Pass, you can do it on your phone, but otherwise you're going to the kiosks. So you don't book earlier than other guests. And in fact, you can actually stay just as close or even closer by not staying at a Disney hotel. If you were to look at a map of the parks and put Disneyland up on top, Disney California Adventure on the bottom, and you've got kind of the walkway in between them, downtown Disney is going to be here. Well, where we are staying is actually right there, and it's actually almost the exact same distance. We can walk out of our hotel room, walk across the street, and we're walking into the parks. We're that close. It's a 1-block walk. And it makes it a lot different. For coming in, we don't necessarily need a car, not because we don't want to get around to other places, but we're right there. We have the advantage that you would have at Walt Disney World without having to worry about shuttles and buses and all of that. It's that close. And so that's actually really nice. It does affect your planning in other ways too. Walt Disney World, when you are staying on property, you are essentially a captive. You've got to eat in their hotel restaurants or in the park or buying their snacks. You can bring some in with you and maybe have it delivered, but for the most part, you're going to end up having to pay Disney for food at some point. In fact, most of your trip, because you've got to eat and they're the ones that got you, and trying to get off Disney property in Florida, yeah, good luck. However, in California, you can walk out of the park, make a left turn, walk across the street, and there's an IHOP, there's a McDonald's, there's a Denny's, there's Jim Boy's Tacos. Oh, I can't wait to get Jim Boy's Tacos. There's a pizza place, there's a couple convenience stores, there's a Tony Roma steakhouse, so there's places right across Harbor Boulevard from the park. Or if you want to go to downtown Disney, you walk out of Disneyland and make a right turn, or a left if you're coming from California Adventure. Again, it's about a 1-block long walk, and downtown Disney's right there, an Earl of Sandwich and a couple other places to eat in there. So you're only looking at walking out of the parks and going about a block, maybe a block and a half to get to some other place to eat. that's cheaper than what the parks are. Great way to save money, but can also definitely affect your planning. We're already planning one of the days to order round table pizza and have it delivered. We're going to have it delivered to our hotel room and have some good pizza. So it definitely affects how you are going to plan on eating. The other thing too is the restaurants are even closer than what you may think of if you're used to Magic Kingdom. Because Magic Kingdom is a much bigger park. There's a whole lot more to do in Disneyland, but size-wise, Magic Kingdom is a lot bigger. So if you were walking from, say, the castle at Magic Kingdom and then walking out of the park and then, say, over to the bus stops, which is about the equivalent of where Harbor Boulevard is, it's a longer walk, really, than Disneyland because Disneyland's smaller. So it's a little easier to be able to walk those distances. So all of that actually makes Disneyland and Disney California Adventure in many ways much easier to negotiate if you're staying off property. So you can actually do it for less or have other options besides just the Disney hotels. We're staying in a 2-room suite, so we are paying probably pretty close to about the same price as if we stayed at a Disney hotel, but we've got a lot more room for 5 people. We have a small kitchenette, we got a dining table, so we've got more space, more amenities in our hotel room than we would if we'd stayed at Disney. And it's literally, again, across the street. We are in a room where we can open up our blinds and we'll be able to look out and see Disneyland and California Adventure and watch the fireworks at the castle on Saturday night when we're at the hotel room. Very nice and convenient in that way. The biggest issue that we're flying into LAX because it's much cheaper than it is for us to be able to fly into one of the other airports. The other airports are closer, but they cost more. And by the time we started figuring in cost to fly to the other airports, it really started becoming expensive. The biggest obstacle that we had was actually finding a way to get from the airport to our hotel. Now, in Los Angeles, there's a bunch of different options and you're going to have to pay. Whereas if you're in Florida and you're staying at a Disney resort, you just go check into Magical Express, hop on the bus, it's all included, and hey, you're taken care of, no worries. So it is a little different. We're paying for a shuttle van to come pick us up. We've got a private shuttle van, which actually came out reasonably priced because I found a good special on it. But other options were a limo, a shared shuttle service, or Disney does actually have their version of Magical Express at Disneyland as well from LAX. But you have to pay for it, and it's $30 one way or $50 round trip for each person. So we would have been looking $250 to be able to take that. And it doesn't even stop at our hotel. It actually stops at like 4 hotels away from us. So then we've had to been walking down the street lugging our luggage and suitcases and everything else. And yeah, pay more to get further away. I don't think so. But it does mean shopping around a little bit. If you just have a couple people, it may be cheaper to do that Disney bus instead of one of the others, and especially if you're staying at one of the hotels that it stops at. But it's much more compact, and that's actually one of the things I know Walt liked the idea of Walt Disney World because it would be spread out and the rest of the world wouldn't encroach on it. But when you're doing it on a budget, I like that idea. Because we're going to pack snacks in our suitcases and we'll be able to walk down to the convenience store and buy a jug of milk at a semi-reasonable price instead of $5 for a half gallon like it was at Walt Disney World. Ouch! We can eat reasonably priced food outside the park and not have to spend $20 or $30 a person at counter service inside the park. Yeah, okay, I know that there are cheap meals you can buy for only about $15 a person, but it really does help those who are traveling on a budget to have some other options. There are grocery stores that aren't too far away. There's a Walgreens and a CVS that are about a block up. They're on the far corner by California Adventure's back end. And so you can get to those if you have needs. And so there are options there that you don't have at Walt Disney World if you're staying off property. And of course, if you're staying off property at Walt Disney World, well, then you're paying for parking and all this other stuff. So it's actually nice in that regard if you're going on a vacation to stay off-site, have other options, not have to pay for parking, worry about the shuttle, but again, we're paying less than a rental car would have. It does give you other options. And then, of course, there's all sorts of stuff in the park that's different, but that's a whole nother video, and that has been really fun telling my group about, and hey, this is going to be different for you, and that's going to be different. Goodness, they're still having a hard time wrapping around the fact that we can walk out of the hotel room and into the park just right there. So 8 days till we go. I still got lots more to cover, the other ways that Disneyland is different from Magic Kingdom in particular, but Disney World, we'll be talking about other places we're going. Not a long list, but there are a few, and other things we're doing, special things that they'll be doing, the pins I'm taking, packing, and more. So be sure to check each day as we count down till we get to Disneyland. 8 days! Yes! Thanks so much for watching. If you just have a couple people, it may be cheaper to do the So that's this that. If you'd like to know about my merchandise, fan pages, and more, be sure to check the description below. If you'd like to know whenever I've got a new video posted, well, make sure you hit that button right up there and subscribe. If you'd like to watch another one of my videos, I've got a great one for you right here. And if you'd like to be like these wonderful people here and support me financially on Patreon, well, make sure you check the link right there. There's even some extra perks for them. Thank you so much, and God bless.